Just a little update, working on the transmission, and just wanted to show you a different way that I took the input shaft bearing retainer nut off. Actually, I know for sure the 12.5 series don't have a nut. They just have a snap ring, kind of like the 12.5, the 14.6 and on up, all have changed to a snap ring. But for sure, this 910 has a threaded nut on the input shaft, and it basically shows you disassemble the whole front box except for the input shaft last. Take it out, put it in a vise. Got to have this, or make a special tool to go into the nut. Basically just has two slots, kind of like a spanner wrench. And then make another tool with a sliding clutch to go into the input shaft and turn that so you can turn the nut off. I didn't have any of that, didn't feel like fooling around with any of that. So what I did first was I took my bell housing off, took my input cover off, and then I actually, see, here's the nut. It's left-hand thread, and what I did is I put the transmission in 2 gears at once. It's in neutral right now, but I put 2 sliding clutches engaged. That locks the input shaft, locks the whole transmission, and then like a savage, I used a chisel, but I was able to spin this off using the transmission, my jack, everything as a base to work off of. So that way I'm just not worrying about it slipping out of my vise or making a tool or whatever like that. So yeah, I kind of bummed up the nut a little bit. Probably should replace this. The book says to replace it because, see, get this chisel mark and this chisel mark here. That there you go. You're supposed to put it where these tabs are as a locking feature. So these are, I mean, I may end up reusing this, we'll see. If I can get a new one in a kit, I'm gonna be getting so much other stuff anyway, I'll probably just get a new input shaft nut and be done with it. But just wanted to show you there's a different way to do things if you don't have the right tools or whatever. And I'm working on getting my auxiliary drive gear and bearing housing off. I'm going to pull this top reverse idler gear shaft out. I'm going to hopefully get this all out of here in a little bit. So I'll bring you back and show you my progress. Well, I finally got all the pieces out of the transmission case. Things went pretty well. No more major surprises on bad parts or anything like that, other than what I already knew. Got the main shaft there. It's auxiliary drive gear where the high-low synchro meshes with. That I'm definitely gonna replace along with the synchro. This is a different design than what is shown in the book. I'm going to assume this is maybe like the first design. Main shaft is definitely quite small compared to the bigger series transmissions. I do like the idea of the bearing on the input shaft. I mean, this is the main shaft, but this is where it meets the input shaft instead of a bushing. Have a nice oiled bearing there. That is nice. That all looks to be good. Got the 2 counter shafts here. I was going to try to start pulling some gears off here at home with my own press, but the press I have is too small. I can't even get these gears through the throat of it. So, but we got to press off. You guys, unfortunately, I got to start off this side. So this is reverse, first, second, third, fourth. This is for PTO, drive gear. This is fifth. So I'm going to be changing fifth and fourth, swapping them around, both counter shafts. That'll give me overdrive. And then on the input drive gear and fourth gear, I gotta disassemble the main shaft, take this gear, put it on, and make that my drive gear. And then this is gonna be actually gonna be fifth gear, because fourth will now be direct, and then fifth will be overdrive. And I got the case all apart here. Still have the reverse idler gear in there. I'll pull that out just to clean it, because I'm going to take this case and steam it off and clean it. I'm going to pull that PTO off, make sure, replace the seals anyway, make sure everything's good in that. And yeah, and then I got a little bit done under here. I got the flywheel off. Started to go after the motor mount bolts. I got one nut off, and I'm gonna let the bolts soak with some penetrating oil, and hopefully those will come apart next time I come back. And yeah, so figured I'd give you an update on the disassembly of the old RT-910, soon to be an RT-910. And thanks for watching, and if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask, and hope you enjoy. Thanks. Bringing you guys back on the rebuild and conversion of my RT-910 to an RT-910. Here's the main shaft assembly, all disassembled. This was my old drive gear, which was attached to the input shaft. And this was old fourth gear. And now by swapping these two, this is going to be the drive gear. And this is actually going to be fifth. And also now an overdrive. You can just see the size difference. This is a bigger gear. So this is going to drive the entire box, and all the gears are going to be a higher ratio now, because this is a drive gear as opposed to this. And then because of the mating countershaft gears, this is actually going to be overdrive. So it used to be, here's the grooves where the gears would sit. This was reverse, first, second, third, fourth, and then this rides into the input shaft, which this gear used to be here. And then when you'd slide the sliding clutch, that would lock the input shaft to the main shaft, give you direct. But now, since we're speeding up the box, now it's going to be reverse, first, second, third, fourth will be direct, and then fifth will be overdrive. These are the sliding clutches. So when you move your shifter, the forks in the top cover slide these, and then they spline into the corresponding gear that they go on, locking the gear to the main shaft to then go out to the auxiliary section and on down the line. But just figured this might just show somebody what the inside of a main box of a Road Ranger looks like. I've already swapped both counter shaft gears. I had to press all the gears off. They all go to the rear. This is the front. And then now you can see this gear is smaller than this gear. So now that when we have a larger gear, well, the gear is still smaller, but the input drive gear mates to this, will send power through here, and then when this is engaged to my new fifth gear, it'll give me overdrive. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit for guys, and you know, just see what I'm doing and see how things are going and what it looks like, and hope this is helpful for you. I know for sure the 910 series you can do this. I know the 9.5s you can, and I'm almost certain the 12.5s you can. And then after that, I think the counter shafts, I think the first gear is part of the machining of the main shaft, and you can't press it off, and those cannot be swapped. I'm not 100% on those, but I know the 910s, the 900s, the 9.5s, and the 12.5s, I know that you can do an overdrive swap if you want to.